Today's topic is a very important one in the world of astrology. So many people, they wonder which one is right. Is it Western or is it Vedic? I don't know. Western astrology is also known as tropical astrology. Vedic astrology is also known as Jyotish, or sidereal zodiac based. There are tropical astrologers out there and there are Vedic astrologers out there. There's all kinds of astrologers out there. Just like doctors, there's good ones and there's bad ones. My thing is, are people telling the truth? Many people are skeptical of astrology and they think that it doesn't work. They're like, oh, that's just hocus pocus. That's just something funny that I read in the newspaper and it's not really true. It's cute. It's a good conversation starter, but it's not real. And that actually is not true. I used to not believe in astrology myself, but I have found it to be extremely helpful in understanding who I am, and also it's helped me to make sense of exactly what's going on in my life, and it's explained my past. For centuries and centuries, astrologers have debated, is my way right, Western or tropical astrology? This debate has been going on forever. It's really important to speak one's own truth. Of course, you don't have to accept my opinion, but I wanted to at least present the knowledge and let you make the decision for yourself, what you think is best for you, what works for you. The thing with astrology is it true? Who wants to get a chart reading and then it's not true? You want to know what's correct and what's right. You don't want to pay somebody money, have them look at your chart, and then the answer is totally wrong because they read it wrong from the start, right? Astrology needs to be true. Is what the astrologer's seeing actually what's really going on in a person's life? How do we even know astrology is true? This is how you will know. If you go to an astrologer and they are able to look at your past, for example, if you knew the exact date that you got married, or you knew the exact date that you graduated from high school, I mean, nobody's gonna argue with that. That's the past, that's documented. You know it was June 12 of whatever date it was, right? You know astrology is true. If the astrologer can tell you exactly the day and time you were born without you even telling them. Like, say I graduated from high school on this date, right? That astrologer, if they're good, should be able to take that date and backtrack and calculate and say, oh, well, you were born on January 4th of 1982. And you'd be like, how'd you know that? There is a system in astrology where you can actually calculate very specifically to the day, even to the half day, events that have already occurred or events that will take place in the future. It's amazing. And if an astrologer can do that, you know that they're using the right system, right? Because it's based on the truth. If they can calculate exactly when you were born and the time, based on an event that already happened to you, like the date you got married, then the zodiac system that they're using has to be correct. There's no other way. So either you're going to get a tropical reading with your astrology chart, which is Western astrology, or you're going to get Vedic astrology, also known as Jyotish. They both can't be right. They can't be about the same question. And that's really frustrating because somebody's living in truth and somebody's not living in truth. You know, there's a lot of similarities between the two. I mean, Sagittarius is Sagittarius in either system, right? They represent and do exactly the same thing. They hold the same energetic signatures, but there's so much that is very, very different. And we need to keep that in mind. So Western astrologers, they use the tropical zodiac, and it's based on the seasons on Earth, and it's also based on our equinoxes. It actually, surprisingly enough, is not actually based on where the planets are in the constellations, which is so strange to me. It's like, why would you say the sun is in Gemini when it's not in Gemini? But it is according to their system, which is calculated based on the seasons, as I said before. Now, the Vedic astrologers, we will use the sidereal zodiac. That just means you follow the planets in the ecliptic, which is the path that goes around the earth, and the sun and the moon and all the planets, they follow this one, it's like a Ferris wheel basically around the earth, and all the constellations, the 12 of them as we know them traditionally, are in that Ferris wheel. They go like you're in the middle of the earth and it's just going around you basically, or you think it's going around you. We're actually the one rotating. If you're looking at the eastern horizon and you see the sun come up in Scorpio, the sun is actually coming up in Scorpio, right? And that's the truth. Like, that's Vedic astrology. Where the sun rises, or any planet, the constellation that you can literally see that it's in, that's how you determine it. Western astrologers won't do that. They'll say like, oh, the sun is rising in Gemini, but actually it's in Cancer. So it's not literally in the constellation they say it is, which doesn't even really make sense when you take your eyes and look in the sky and see where the planet actually is. People are getting readings that aren't even true, and they're trying to make them make sense, but they're actually not really true. Vedic astrologers, they look at the planets, the sun and the moon and Rahu and Ketu, all these things, and they see what constellation they're in along the ecliptic, literally, and that's how they determine the charts. That's how they go ahead and they make their assessments based on literally where they are. There is a branch of Vedic astrology. It's called Tajika. The word itself actually means an Arab or a Persian. This kind of astrology can actually be traced back to ancient Arabia and Persia, and back around the 7th century or so. Arabia, back in the day, they invaded India and they brought their system of astrology with them, and that's how India picked up on Tajika and incorporated it into its chart analysis. Now, Tajika astrology is not in Western astrology at all. It's not in tropical astrology, and this is only something you'll find a Vedic astrologer doing. Tajika astrology is really, really helpful because it predicts precisely in detail to the half day when events will happen or when they happened in the past. Now, with Western astrology, you can't do that. You can look at your birth chart and say, well, it looks like this might happen within this 2-year period. You know, just feel it out, which is fine. But if you want to know down to the date, you definitely want to go with Vedic astrology because it will calculate exactly when this will happen. Tajik astrology is extremely specific. So when a Vedic astrologer looks at your birth chart, they can make an assessment about when certain things will happen. Tajika will confirm that. Your birth chart will give you a general sense, like it will say, you know, you're going to get married between 2019 and 2020, right? But you don't know when exactly. But if you take that information and surgically slice it up, you'll go specifically into the Tajik chart. It will tell you the day you'll get married, and it can even tell you if it'll be like in the morning or the afternoon. That is a trip. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? So the Tajik chart confirms what is in your birth chart. It just gives more precise and specific details. It will never go against your birth chart. It only confirms it. It gives you more information. You can only get this information using the sidereal zodiac. The sidereal zodiac is what Tajik is based on. It's what Vedic astrology is based on. And so if you can find out exactly when something will happen in the future, or when it exactly happened in the past, and you have found it to be true for yourself, like, oh yes, I did graduate high school or college on June 12 of 2007. You can say that, and your Vedic astrologer can go back and actually confirm that and see that. Then you know, you have to know that the sidereal chart is correct. It's just the truth. I am an astrologer that is a huge fan of speaking only the truth. I don't want to make people feel good or say something that sounds right. I only want the truth. I don't even want to try to do someone's chart unless I know I'm starting with the correct zodiac, and you can only make very specific to the day predictions if you use sidereal. I was looking at the night sky the other day, and I was using the app called Skyview. I'll just put the name of it right here if you want to check it out. It's a free app, and you can literally take your phone and look at the sky, and it will show you where all the planets are. Literally, it'll show you the eastern horizon, it'll show you the ecliptic where all the planets are going around, and you can literally see, oh, the moon is in Pisces, or the sun is in Sagittarius. Like, you can see it with your eyes. You don't have to go to an app or some chart or some internet calculator. You can literally see the truth of where it literally is. And so that, to me, is another indicator that Vedic astrology makes much more sense. I'm a huge fan of just looking at the truth. I hope that this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your time and for watching. And for all of you who have subscribed to my channel, I really appreciate it. I hope you have an awesome day.